Welcome to hell!
What's your favorite scary movie?
Welcome to prime time, bitch!
What up, guys? It's your boy Walter Doom back for another episode of Let's Talk About Horror, and I brought back our special guest, Dimi Horror.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yep. And right now, we are about to have a very interesting topic to talk about today. So, as for a lot of you guys that are probably paying attention to mainstream media, even though this is like a horror channel, we still like kind of like pop culture type shit sometimes, you know?
Right?
Yeah, I'm kind of paying attention to what's going on in the internet because I need hella memes and shit.
Right.
hella ratchet memes. So right now, what's happening in the world right now, or should I say what's happening this past weekend, is the whole Will and Jada relationship. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are probably like done hearing about that, but I thought it was a pretty interesting topic to kind of bring up because I watch a lot of videos on YouTube, which is why I am on here, you know, putting videos on my own. But, you know, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I saw a very interesting video by Abbas and Preach. And it was talking about relationships. And one of the persons that they interviewed or talked about was a woman who was in a relationship with a guy, or says she didn't want to be in a relationship with a guy if he wasn't on her same level, or some crazy nonsense like that. So their answers about this woman, because her answers was totally fucked up, by the way.
Right.
So her answers was pretty much like something very toxic, which I kind of agreed with, but it made me think about like just and it makes me think about stuff that's happening in my personal life too, as far as relationships go. But it just made me realize there's a trend that's kind of going on, and it's very much toxic relationships.
Right.
And oh, I remember now. So the woman, she said she is upset that her ex is doing better than her. And the reason why she was upset is because she gave the man 10 years of her life. Well, 10 years of her life, in her words. And all he did was smoke weed, play video games all the time, and didn't really get a job. After she left him, he pretty much gained like a job and was doing better for himself, had a nice car, everything like that. And he got that in a span of like 5 years after she saw him again. So she saw him like 5 years after they broke up.
Right.
And after she saw him, she was pretty much upset by the idea of him actually accomplishing so much. And all she could think was, well, why couldn't he do that for me?
Right.
So it made me think about not only the climate of what's happening right now with relationships, and I'm speaking on like circles around me and just things that I see personally myself, but it also made me think about the movie topic of today, which is Acrimony. And considering like what's going on today with Will and Jada, toxic relationships, and just like that video, I had to bring Dimi on just to talk about it a bit. I mean, we were talking like a few minutes. We have to put quotation in minutes because it was more than minutes.
Right. Black people minutes.
Yeah. But we were definitely going in on the topic of like toxic relationships, and just not only talking about relationships in general, but kind of like reflecting on our past relationships too. So for a lot of you guys, if you haven't seen the movie before, Acrimony, because this is basically what this woman actually from Absent Preach really made me think about. She made me think about Taraji P. Henson in Acrimony. And if you guys haven't seen Acrimony before, which you guys should, it's on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
I'm not a Tyler Perry fan. Honestly, I don't care for his movies, but this is one movie I could truly say, like, he really hit the nail on the head with this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't seen it, you should check it out. But Acrimony is literally about this woman named Melinda, which is played by Taraji P. Henson. And the character Melinda ends up meeting this guy named Robert, who is played by Tariq Bent. So what happened is that they get into a relationship with each other. It's kind of rocky at first, but then they eventually kind of like, I don't know if they go on a steady trend. Would you say it's steady? Because I think it still is kind of rocky.
Yeah, it's pretty much rocky from beginning to end, like, for sure. Their relationship was never really like steady. I don't.
Yeah, it wasn't a stable relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so it wasn't really a stable relationship. I mean, he cheated on her. He pretty much was kind of taking advantage of her. But
Right.
he had a dream that was gonna revolutionize the world and was gonna change the world for the better, as well as make him a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
They end up breaking up. She ends up leaving him. He doesn't leave her. He wanted to stay with her as much as he can so he could give her the world, but she ends up breaking up with him. She ends up staying in the same place, or even worse. Actually, she was worse off than him afterwards because she lost the house.
Yeah.
She lost the house and she had to move in with her sisters, who didn't like Robert to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But after she pretty much left him, he ended up doing better for himself. His battery actually hit. He got the meaning that he wanted. He got the licensing and everything. And he got those billions. He managed to buy her house back, pay her back,
Yep.
and apologize for everything that went wrong in the relationship.
Yeah.
So, bringing on to the first question of this topic, since Melinda was kind of like, she was like this woman. She was definitely like this woman in the Absent Preach letter that I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
She did not like that Robert succeeded. And after he succeeded, she saw that everything that he was doing should have been hers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I feel like with that, like, women and men and or any relationship, period, paragraph, is like, you got to have your set of goals first and foremost, and have them separate from each other. And then, like, as you are building your goals, building to your goals, and your partners building to their goals, you then come together as far as like meeting each other at a halfway point and being like, okay, well, this is what I have to bring to the table, and this is what I have to bring to the table. And, you know, you guys can still do this as you guys are in a relationship together. I know sometimes that can be pretty complex, you know, to make that happen, but it's, you know, like, it always has to, like I said, just stimulate from, you know, having your own goals first and foremost, achieving those one by one, and however the process goes for that person, and then same thing for your partner, and you guys support each other, you know, as you guys' dreams is coming together. But, you know, with what Melinda, just talking on what I remember from her standpoint, she allowed herself to be a doormat in this relationship. And far too many times, I feel like it's not only just women, it's men too, and vice versa. But it's like, you know, there's always that one partner, or I shouldn't say always, but there is that situation most times than not, that one partner is is putting more into the relationship than the other person is, and you know, or is doing far too much that is really not asked of them, but you know, they're doing it because it's coming from their heart. They want to be that ride or die for that person, and they're looking for validation. Like they're looking for validation.
Yeah,
That
I
really,
agree. I
yeah,
agree. Yeah, it's
yeah,
definitely validation.
yeah. And
Like,
codependency.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No. And codependency, validation, and codependency. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, as like we seen in the movie, I mean, she tried to claim everything, and I mean, to me, I'm like, you dipped. You literally dipped in the relationship, and you dipped because you were tired of everything. But it's
Mhm.
like no way, shape, or form did both sides really try to create a boundary in the relationship of like, okay, well, if you don't stop doing this, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
I mean, I feel like so many people are so quick to jump into a relationship. They forget the aspects of like trying to learn a person's habits, or even
Mhm.
just trying to like let a person know like, hey, this is a boundary that I'm not with, you know?
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
um, I'm gonna speak on something personal, and I kind of didn't bring this up before we recorded. I
Sure.
recently, I don't want to call this a date, but I went out with somebody on my birthday, which was this past week.
Aww.
So yeah, before you say all that, you might want to take that one back. Because this person was certified crazy. So,
Oh, my bad. Taking
but
that back. Taking it
yeah,
back.
yeah. So like I met this person on like one of those dating apps and what have you. So I mean, like any other millennial would, by
Right.
the way,
Right. That
you
part.
know. So talk to this person for like maybe a week and a half, and they were like, "Hey, I want to meet up. Let's have a picnic on your birthday." I never had a picnic on my birthday before, so I was like, you know what, this sounds pretty dope. You know what,
A
let's
little
do that.
romantic. A little something.
But the thing is like this person said like, um, they said this is not gonna be anything with pressure, no pressure or anything like that. So I'm like, all right, no pressure, whatever. So
Right.
on to kind of like set a story up a bit, like on these dating apps, I don't use my real name much anymore on these
Right.
things.
I
So
agree.
I literally use my YouTube name on there, so I could kind of you know cut down on the crazies if it doesn't work out.
Right.
you, you know.
Exactly.
So like I'm talking to this person. I'm like, you know what? This seems like this might go somewhere if this day goes right. I might have to tell this person my real name, blah, 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 whatever.
Right.
You know, like, they got to earn the real name kind
Right.
of thing.
That
But,
part.
but I mean, I guess that was probably wrong on my part because I guess they think I was deceiving them, but not really a deceit. It was more like, hey, I'm watching out for myself, you know?
Well, yeah, I get you on that. I respect that. Like, I don't even give my number out anymore, hardly, because I'm like, fuck that. I'm like a bunch of crazies and shit. So I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we go on the and I still don't want to say date, but we go on the outing. I meet her up. I get to the venue first, by the way. I get to like the location first before she does because she was doing whatever. I tried to like tell her like, hey, I found a spot, so whenever you get here, just let me know where you're at so I could meet up with you and we could find a spot together.
Right.
She didn't like that. She was already like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. You need to find a spot, this, that, and the other. She didn't say it like that, but it sounded like that to me in my head. you
Right.
know?
Right. Right.
So she was just like, no, find a spot, pick a spot, this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, okay, sure, whatever. So I pick a spot. I remembered something about like something that she liked. She told me that she liked nature and that she liked animals and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we were at Echo Park, by the way. So I
Ooh,
picked
Echo
it.
Park, nice.
Yeah, so I picked an area where there was like ducks and everything, like real life ducks, because you know how they like have the duck boats and the real
Yeah,
ducks.
the swan boats. I've seen that. Yeah. I
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. So I picked a spot where there was like the real ducks where you could see them. So I was like,
Oh.
okay, she'll like that. So whatever, you know. I mean, I pay attention to shit like that. You know.
Romantic and shit. Bringing out the big guns. All right.
Yeah, so I picked that spot. I'm sitting there chilling. She gets to the location. I don't know where the hell she was. I'm trying to figure out where she's at. She can't figure out where I'm at. She's already trying to dip. And I'm just like, no, like, you just got here. Like, why are you trying to dip already?
Right.
So I got up from the spot, looked for her, found her, and she still was kind of like trying to dip and whatever. And I was just like, oh, like, come on, don't dip. Let's chill. So we go back literally to the spot that I started off at,
Right.
that I told her I was at. So I was like, she was like, what? You were here the whole time? I'm like, yeah.
Yes.
Like, and she tried to say that she walked past me, but it's like I didn't see her at all. Like, come on now. Like you didn't walk past me. So
right.
anyway,
Exactly.
So anyway, we talk. We're having a good time. We're having laughs and all that. You know, eventually I was just like, all right, let me tell her like the deal. You know, broke the deal down. Told her my name, and then that's where like hell just break loose, and it was just like. I'm like, okay. But point being is like it seemed like she was hurt from something in the past, and it was just like, okay, well, yeah, this didn't seem like too much of a good idea to be doing and all that. And
Yeah. She
it
wasn't
just
ready.
she wasn't ready. And it was like I almost fell into like another toxic environment.
Situation. Yeah, I feel you.
So yeah, it was just like, to me, it was just another episode of like, oh, and it brings me to my point. I just remember why I was bringing this story up. It was about like boundaries. So when I actually told her my actual name, she gave me this whole stick about like how she doesn't like it when people don't like use their names, this, that, and the other. That's a pet peeve. And to me, I'm like, well, how am I supposed to know that?
Right. And I'm supposed to, first of all, I need to protect myself. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. How am I supposed to know that? Like, that is something I'm not gonna know off the bat, you know? Like,
Exactly.
and it's just like, it goes back to what I was saying about the movie. Like, there needs to be a genuine topic when couples, when they have like relationships or when they talk. And this is just stuff that I've learned over the years, and especially with the last relationship, relationship that I was telling you about earlier.
Right,
You know,
right.
you know, like there needs to be an established amount of like boundaries. Like, you know, I know sometimes like I feel like some people don't like to talk about like what makes them tick, you know?
Right. Right.
And they don't really like talk about like, well, this makes me angry, you know, don't do this, don't do that. They kind of generalize on the whole idea of like, well, my ex did this, my ex did that, but they don't really go into details of like, well, these are my pet peeves, this is my boundaries, this is the line you shouldn't cross.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes there's not enough like open honesty in the opening parts of the relationship. You know, everybody's like swept away in like the whole, oh yeah, this is fun, like I like this feeling right now. And this is just like, again, I'm speaking on terms of like what I've, you know, witnessed or stuff that I've experienced. I know everybody's experience is not the same, and some are different, you know, maybe some are actually establishing those boundaries and what have you. But I'm
Right.
just saying things like that I've seen that I'm just like, yeah, maybe people need to start establishing that stuff, you know?
I agree 100%. Like, and I can see where you're coming from on that. Like, people go from like, oh my gosh, it's a new person, it's a new relationship. Oh, it feels great, and it's wishy
Yeah,
goody, good
yeah.
stuff.
It's like a shiny new toy. Like they're all excited about it, but it's like once that toy starts like doing stuff that they don't
Malfunctioning.
like, yeah,
Right, exactly.
malfunctioning. That's the best word to put. When it starts malfunctioning, they're like pretty much over it and want a new shiny toy, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, exactly. 100%. And sometimes it's like, for me, like just based off what you were saying about the date, like you start getting these vibes like, nah, this is not the relationship for me. Like you just start getting these like reminiscent vibes of like the previous situation you've been in. And it's tricky because it's like, damn, like you don't want to compare and contrast your every relationship that you've been into the next relationship, but it's kind of hard to not do that because it's like, I'm not trying to be in the same relationship, that I was in before, the past, 6 relationships I've been in before. Like, I ain't trying to do that to myself again, and but it's difficult because it's like and I think like that's where I'm at with my dating life right now is like, it's not that I don't see potential. I see a lot of cute guys, I see a lot of handsome people and that I come across and stuff like that, but it's like, ooh, are you a karmic lesson, or are you like, what I'm looking for is the person that I'm gonna be with. That's it, like that. This is
I
one and
feel you.
done, that's what I want, but it's not like where I'm with, like with people, like I'm telling you, I'd be meeting people and I'm like, oh, they're super cute, like damn, like they're cute, and then, but then it's like,
That one girl, she reminded me about the girl I was telling you about when she started flipping out.
yeah,
And yeah, after we met up that day on my birthday, yeah, I didn't talk to her again. Like we maybe text like a couple of times, but that was it. And then I just deleted her number because I was like, I ain't trying to deal with that shit.
no,
But
I hear you,
but
definitely.
let me tell you, and I it's funny because I'm going in on this one. I'll tell you this, like when I say like home chick that I met up with reminded me of the last girl that I was telling you about. Here's what the last girl that I was telling you about, what she did, that kind of reminded me of what this chick was doing when she flipped out. So like when I first met up with that girl, well, you know the backstory. I'm not gonna go into the backstory about this, you know. You know.
Definitely.
I'm not going into the backstory about this one, but the first week when I was with this girl, like it was pretty much her last day, pretty much out here and whatever, and we were at a Target for whatever reason. I can't remember why, but we had a conversation. So we were talking about something that just wasn't even like anything that I was thinking, but it was just an opinion I had. And like it was about like, why do guys choose the party girls over the good girls or the nice girls, or they kind of overlook the nice shy girls or whatever. So me being me, I'm opinionated, honestly. and
Right.
and to me, I would think like, if any girl that I'm with, has a opinion or a debate about something, I'm gonna talk with her and actually speak my honest opinion. I'm not gonna shy away from it. If
Yeah.
she asks me, hey, do you think that girl got a nice ass over there? I'm be like, yeah, that girl does got a nice ass, but she don't got a better ass than you, baby.
Right. That's right. Right. Clean it up a little bit. Right.
Like that's how it's gonna be, That's me. That's honestly me.
Right.
But she made a comment about that, and I just told her like what I thought. I didn't tell her like that's what I do. I just told her like, well, some guys think that party girls are just more fun. I mean, that's why they mess with them. She flipped out on me for that comment, and I was like, I'm thinking like, what did I do?
Right, exactly. That
So,
part.
so we're just pretty much walking to our Airbnb, and she's just giving me like this stink face, like I just committed a murder or something. And I'm just like, the fuck did I just do? So I mean, maybe I'm wrong for speaking my mind or being too
Never.
honest, but
Never.
you know, I'm just like, if you can't take a comment, you be a pussy. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
like,
100%. 100. Like, and not even to cut you off, definitely finish your story. But I feel like where I'm at with this right now with dating, I'm gonna say exactly how I feel like saying something, and if you can take it, great. If you can't, like, I'm not gonna come off disrespectful. Like, I'm not gonna be like mean about it, but I'm just gonna be a straight shooter about stuff, because it's like, I'm not here for the gameplay. Like, I'm not here like trying to, like, somebody the other day, like at Sam's Club, and I was grocery shopping, and he was a nice guy, and he was like, so you single? And I was like, yes. I had to think about it, because I was like, should I tell you that I'm single? Like, you know, because I don't know. I gotta see this vibe, you know? Like,
you're like, you're giving me some real Ted Bundy vibes right
you
now.
give me some fuckboy vibes. I don't know. Right, exactly. So I was like, yes. And he was like, just like that too. Yes. Like, because I had to think about it real quick. And then he was like, oh, why you single? And I was like, because people are stupid. And I literally said it like that. And he was like, he just laughed. But in my head, I was like, damn, that was pretty brutal and honest, huh? And I was like, I don't know how, I can't help it. Like, I have to be like straight shooter about stuff. I can't do the gameplay. I can't do it.
Okay, that was a bit of an evil laugh on my part, but I kind of feel what you're saying.
Like, guys who do that to me, or like, if he's ugly or not ugly, I shouldn't say ugly. I should say that he's not my taste, right?
Mhm.
And like, there would be guys who like, so what's up? You single? And I'll be like, I have a boyfriend. Knowing damn well,
You know,
I have a
niggas
boyfriend.
don't give about.
You know, like,
You know, they don't care about that half the time.
right, exactly. They be like, so you can't have no friends? I'll be like, nah, I can't have no friends. Zero. Good.
Hey,
Keep rocking.
Hey, dudes out here like August Alsina, they don't give a fuck.
Right. That right. That.
Dudes are out here like August Alsina. They like, you married? I don't give a fuck. You still get this pipe.
Right, exactly. Correct. They're so true. Like, people have defined relationships on a whole different plane in 2020. Like, I'm still here trying to look for, like, you know, the old man that I'm finna grow old with, you know, grow old on the patio and see our grandchildren play and stuff like that. Like, I'm still looking for that in 2020, and people are like, oh, I have 10 girlfriends, but like, I'm like married. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, what? Like, right. Like, shit is on another level.
But let's circle back to the movie right now, to
Sure.
Acrimony. So going back to how like she was very envious of Robert's success, do you feel like her vengeance was really justifiable? Why or why not?
Yeah, I honestly feel like no. Like, I feel like, because when I saw Melinda going through what she was going through for Robert and putting herself in this predicament, because that's what she was doing. She's putting herself in this predicament. It don't have to be like this, you know? And I feel like I kept trying to, like, you know, relate to the character Melinda. Like, would I do that? Would I put myself through that? Would I go that fucking far to sabotage his life? And it's just like, no, because it's like, I don't want to, that's karma on me. And you see what happened to her towards the end of the movie. So it's
yeah, she died at the end. She was definitely dead, because she got dragged. That bitch got dragged to the bottom of the sea.
100%. Like, and that's the thing. It's like, that was her fault. Like, she caused her all the self-sabotaging that she was doing and trying to try to sabotage her Robert's like life and stuff like that. That stuff comes back 10 times fold, and what you're doing is just destroying yourself and destroying and you're blindsided to that because you're trying to get to the vengeance part of it. You're trying to just ruin his life utterly and completely, but you are also ruining your life too, and you're wasting your life by doing this, because God didn't say that that's your mission. Oh, your life is, you're here to ruin somebody's life, like,
Yeah.
and you end up backfiring all of that stuff on you. So yeah, no, I feel like she definitely took it way too far.
She did take it way too far. Honestly, I felt like when I rewatched the movie yesterday, I was thinking like, you know what? That's kind of fucked up with what Robert did. I mean, it was really fucked up. Honestly, I think the most fucked up thing that he was doing was when he cheated on her and he couldn't provide enough for her. That was like, or at least meet her in the middle. That's where he fucked up the most to me.
Right.
But I feel like everything else, she was sabotaging herself, and she was just a hurt person that never got over the hurt, and she just wanted to hurt another person just because he's doing better with himself. And it's like with the Abbas and Preach story that I was telling you about in the beginning. It's like they said it was a story of hurt people hurting people, and that's literally what it is, And
yeah, Russ said it the best. Like, Russ is the musical artist who said that in his song, and I'll never forget it. It's like, hurt people, and it's true. Like, that's the best way that you can put toxic relationships and things like that, is hurt people. Facts.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but so since we kind of jumping onto the toxic environment,
Sure.
this is the juicy part of the conversation.
Sure.
So excluding the extent of murder, could this film be a clear representation of toxic relationships in general of today, and why?
Yeah, I feel like the relationship with Robert and Melinda, the characters, I feel like it's just another version of basically Harley Quinn and Joker, or Tina Turner and Ike, and things like that.
Yeah. That was very toxic.
That was beyond toxic. Like, I still can't look at Lawrence Fishburne the same. Like, he played that too well for me. Like, oh man.
Talking about eat the cake, anime. Eat the cake.
Right.
Eat the cake.
That's that, right. So I was just like, yo,
but that bitch kicked his ass though.
She did. She did. She was not playing with him no more. I mean, people get to a certain point because you're human, and you're gonna get to that certain boiling point where enough's enough, and you just explode. And sometimes the explosion is worse than what originally happened, So it's just people have to kind of figure out their values and their self, and know yourself well enough to realize what situations are better for you and what is a less than situation that you're, to stop forcing less than situations to happen for you. Like, for me, my heart is so damn big that I just didn't recognize that that's what I was doing to myself. Like, I didn't realize that I was taking on so-called projects and people, and trying to take care of people because I felt like that's what they deserved, and then putting myself through a lot of shit, and like you said, not setting boundaries, and not knowing or understanding where my boundaries were at the time, what I'm cool with, what I'm comfortable with. But now I'm at that age where I'm like, I know exactly what I deserve, and I know exactly what I ain't putting up with,
I do agree. Like, when it comes to, like, I guess the whole struggle relationship, there needs to be boundaries. Like I said before, there needs to be boundaries. Like, there needs to be an understanding, about the relationship and what have you. I mean, and I get, like, sometimes some people are just dishonest and what have you. But I just feel like sometimes we're all on this whole, and I feel like there's just too much of this hype train of, like, hot girl summer. I mean, I know you have a different opinion about hot girl summer, but there's always that whole hot girl summer. We want a baller this, all the guys want, big booty bitches that, and just like, like, just things that are just totally toxic. And I just feel like I guess through like, I guess media and just like wherever you're raised from or wherever like you're kind of like in taking all these ideals from, you know, when you get with somebody and you have these certain ideals and they don't align together, and it's just like, it just becomes very toxic and you just like kind of let yourself down,
Yeah.
especially when you're making like all these expectations. And I feel like there shouldn't be so much expectations when you just meeting a person, you know? Like
Yeah.
I get like people, you know, they get excited about like a new relationship, a new person, this, that, and the other. But it's like at the end of the day, you just met this person. Like,
It's true. It's true. I mean, like I was saying, like when my ex was one of my good friends that I like, they always start off as like really good friends for me. And I felt like, you know, we get into an opportunity where we could take the relationship to the next level, and getting into a relationship with your friend turns into something that, you know, like I said, like it's you're no longer just dating your friend, you're dating somebody like in an intimate way where you're gonna get to know everything about them. And so which is fine, but it's like when they put themselves out there to be like, well, I'm like this and I'm like that and I'm like
I
this left
mean,
way, and you know what I mean, like, you know, they're making themselves out to be this like Prince Charming on a freaking horse, you know, knight in shining armor type thing.
well, see,
And
that's the thing. What are we talking about? Are we talking about like, because when you say friend, are we talking about like guys that you are legit, you know them as a friend first, or these, or are you talking about like, because I know all girls, they have a different meaning of friends.
friends, yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's
yeah,
true.
yeah. Like this, like friend could be like, oh, I know this guy, blah blah blah. He's a friend.
right,
And then you have the other friend, which is like, oh, I met this guy. I think he's kind of cute, blah, blah, blah. Maybe something will happen. So he's my friend for right now.
right.
And,
No,
half the time, those worlds don't really align, because what ends up happening is that the friend ends up being friend zoned.
right.
And then the friend, you know, you get with, and he's probably like the total jerk and asshole. So,
Yeah,
I'm just like,
yeah.
I'm
There's
just
love.
I'm just trying to figure out where the friend part is aligning at, you know?
Well, yeah, no, like so for instance, like so I was good friends with, like, you put years into the friendship type stuff. Like I've had most of my, I would say, like four of my relationships have been like where they've been friends. I like real like cool with them, and like I've never been on this like friendship benefits stuff. Like that's never worked for me, because I'm too soft. Like I'm too hearts on sleeve type person. Like I get too attached, so or I get attached too easily, you know. So like I never did the friends of benefits thing, but for me, it's always just been like friends, like they're my friend. But you know, next thing you know, you start getting like attracted to them, they're getting attracted to you, and then you start to be like, oh, okay, there's an opportunity here, that there's something that can happen, you know.
But would you say like, even if it's that, wouldn't
Yeah,
you say like that attraction? Because I'm speaking on like, the whole like dudes that get friend zoned,
yeah,
basically. you know?
yeah. I mean, I could speak on that too, because I friend zoned my ex. Like I didn't know that that's what he was trying to do. Like I was first of all, I was in a committed relationship for 7 years when I first started this friendship with myself, and like a straight up friendship between myself and my ex, and we were friends and it was cool. Like he's a musician at the time, and he goes back and forth in his musician stuff. So but I was like interviewing him, and he's a twin, and so I was cool with his brother and him. He was in my class in college at the time. We were both taking broadcast classes, and so we were just, like I said, strictly friends. And there's times where he would like flirt with me and stuff like that, or be charming, but I just seen him as a charming person. I never saw him as like, oh, he's just flirting with me. I just, like, for me, I'm the type of person that you got to make it super obvious that you like me, because I'm just going to think that you're being nice or you're being charming, and I'm not going to think that you like me like that unless you outwardly say that to me. And then it's like, oh, okay, you like me in that way, then cool, like let's see where that goes. But
I could see it go wrong for men on many different levels.
yeah,
Because, yeah, like saying that, you know, I know girls say that a lot, and yeah, when guys actually say it, they be like, "Ew, why he actually say that to me? I don't like that," you know.
it's true. It's true. I've done that too. I've like, I have a friend who I love to death, but he like, I knew he liked me like that, but I was just like, nah, dude, like that's not gonna happen. And I think like he kept trying to like creep on it. Like I would be flirting with him, like we would
See,
flirt.
that's the thing. You moved him into the friend zone.
Well, it's true. It's true. But it's like, it's weird too, though. Because like we were both like flirting with each other, and I'm a flirtatious person. Naturally, I'm a flirting person, very charming and charismatic, and things like that. And so, but I didn't think that it was like taken seriously. Like we were just like, I that's typical, you know. I never think that it's like, oh, it's going to take it to the next level type thing. And next thing I know, like he was like kind of consistently like trying to shoot a shot, and I'd be like, I'm not really like into you like that. And then finally I like had to like say, like in a kind of a bitchy way, like I'm not, it's not happening, bro. Like, cause he kept trying to be like, let's have dinner, like I'm gonna cook for you. And he can cook his ass off, like he can cook real good, but it's just like, nah,
Oh
bro. Like
no,
let me
2020. All men should know how to cook.
yeah, that fact right there. It's true. But I was like, I mean, he could get down in the kitchen. He was like talking about like, I want you to like, want you to come over one day where I'm gonna run you a hot bath and give you a massage and stuff like that, and kind of lay on
Okay,
bed.
Prince.
Right. And I just was like,
Is it gonna
yeah,
get you some
no,
pancakes in the morning?
this not gonna work, right? Like this not, and not that I don't like that kind of stuff, I do, but it's like not with you. That's not it, boo. Not it at all. Like for me, it was awkward because this is a friend that I was like, also he's a friend of my ex, but I met him first. It was weird. Like he knew of him. He had an interview with him, and then like an interview, like as in like podcast like interview. He was a guest. My ex was a guest on his show, but I happened to work with him in the same work building, and I met him first, and so like in person first through my work, and I like had seen him in the work cafeteria, and I was like, oh my god, you just interviewed my boyfriend at the time, and he was like, oh shit, like you guys are together, and I was like, yeah, that's my boyfriend, and he was like, oh okay, that's cool, and that's how we knew about each other, and then. So we were like friends, and then I was going through stuff with my ex at the time. He was my boyfriend at the time, but I was going through stuff with him. I was telling, my friend like, oh, what's going on with him? And then I'm like, but I'm telling you what's going on with him, and you still trying to shoot your shot with me? I was like, I don't know about this. Like, this is like, yeah.
Well, honestly, he's August Alsina.
Yeah, facts though, facts. Yeah, straight up. Oh my god.
Ladies and gentlemen, August Alsina.
Right, that part, for real. It's like I don't understand it. Like I remember like the song Lizzo, what is it? The Lizzo song that Truth Hurts. And that was my theme song when I was going through stuff with my ex and my summer fling. So like I was listening to the song on repeat and stuff like that. And he must have seen something that I had posted up with Truth Hurts, and I put the C in single, something, whatever that lyric is.
Yeah, I put the sing in single. I like that song
Yeah,
too.
sing and
So
single. There you
I already
go.
know
Right.
what you're talking about.
So I put the caption underneath my thing because when I be hurt in my feelings, I be putting it out there like that sometimes. And so he seen that. He must have seen that. And he tried to be slick, like, oh, my friend, my coworker, girl, said like, you know, oh, she puts a singing single and she's like talking her man's or ex-boyfriend's friends is like getting into her DMs and stuff like that. And his friends, my ex friends, like at least two of them had shot their shot at me. And I'm like, but aren't you guys boys? Like, I don't understand. Like, where's the loyalty in this? And I don't play around with loyalty at all, right? So I was like, I ain't the one to try that. Like, that's not cute to me. Like, so I was kind of looking at him kind of like, you need some better friends than that. Especially because at the time, like I said, I was like really trying to rekindle our relationship and work things out. But I was looking at him like, you would be talking so highly of these people, and made me kind of see them in a high perspective, and they are shooting their shot on a
You know what?
What the
You
fuck?
know what? This is bringing into the fold of other movies that I wanted to bring into.
Yeah.
So Midsummer. Midsummer. I don't know how much of the movie you actually watched, but I've watched the whole thing. And I don't know if you've seen when Danny, who was played by Florence Pugh, she was getting hit on by like Christian's friend, Pele.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that part where Pele was hitting on Danny and all that. So he basically like because you know Pele was the one who invited them to go to like his village for the Hagra and all that, which was the Midsummer Festival. Right. So during that time, it was Danny's birthday. So Christian kind of forgot it was her birthday, but at the same time, it was like it never gets dark where they're at, you know, and the days are all the same, you know, and they were high off the shrooms and everything. So he didn't really technically prepared well for her birthday. He kind of like, it kind of slipped his mind a bit. So what ends up happening is that before Christian could really like go up to Danny and be like, oh, hey, happy birthday, Pele was already like shooting his way to her, drew her a picture and was like, happy birthday. And it was a portrait of her, and it was a really good portrait, by the way. But it got me thinking the same thing. Like, dudes really do be out here, no matter what the race is. Dudes really do be out here shooting a shot behind a boy's back at a boy's girl because they feel like, oh, well, I could treat her better than you can. And it's always just like some male competition. I mean, male competition is one thing, but dog, like, loyalty is everything. Like, that's just dirty, you know?
Loyalty first. Like, and I'm very loyal, like, to a painful... Like I'm learning how to balance my loyalty, because to a point, like I'll be so loyal to a point where I end up hurting myself, because I want to be so loyal where this person never has to question that I'm not loyal to them, type thing, you know, but they don't deserve it.
You want to be loyal to the right person. You don't want to be loyal to somebody
that does not
that doesn't deserve it. Yeah.
Right. 100%. Like, that's why, like, I've taught myself through the relationships that I've gone through, like, you can't be somebody's ride or die. That you got to be your own ride or die.
Yeah, like, honestly, and I feel like, you know, there's a lot of people out there, and again, I'm speaking on like just personal experience and just things I've seen over the years, you know, personal observation. I'm not saying like this is what everybody is doing, you know, for all those that are literal out there, you know.
Right. Running and dying.
You know.
That shit. Right.
I mean, it's like, get your gooch under control.
Right, that too. I'm like, what the hell? What is that?
But
no. That's too much. Big struggle.
But yeah, it's all about like, you need to like build on yourself first. You know, to me, it's like jumping relationship to relationship shouldn't be the way. You know. Jumping relationship to relationship isn't healing half the time. Some people say it's healing, but it's only a mask. It's only just a mask, you know. I mean, that's just my personal thoughts and opinions about that, because I'm just like, I don't see how laying up with someone else can help you get over that person. I mean, yeah, you'll get over that person, but eventually there's going to be something that reminds you of that person. And then all you're going to think about is like, oh, damn, I just thought about that person. And eventually, like, if you get with get with someone else and they act just like that person, or they do something that same person does, you're eventually gonna like bring all those emotions out, all those old emotions, all those negative and toxic emotions out. Do you think we are in a pandemic where toxic relationships are being normalized more than stable ones?
Big time. I mean, I feel bad for the people who like are actually dealing with toxic relationships and that are they have nowhere else to go type thing, like where, you know, before that when they were in the relationship with such and such and they're living together, you know, they have work, you know, so they have work and this one has work and they don't really have to face each other, they don't have to deal with each other, you know. So but I feel like this pandemic situation has made people have to really be in a space that it makes them uncomfortable, where they have to really deal with each other, you know. Like this, I feel like is it's a really like a learning period for everybody, just not in just in relationships, but in general as a whole. And I feel like it's just a very teachable moment, because you know, you better take your time to really think about who you're going to marry and who you're going to really spend the rest of your life with, and if this relationship is really worth your time, or if this relationship's some toxic shit that you probably should run the hell away from, you know. Because when, you know, my past relationship, like I said, like the year and 8 months, like I felt like I wanted the relationship so badly to work, because again, I've just had it in my heart where I felt like I want, you know, I went to relationship to another relationship, but it was always like, can this be the, you know, golden ticket? Is this the golden ticket? Is this it, you know, for me? But I started realizing that you're inviting karmic energy into your space, because you're constantly, you're not learning the lessons that are coming to you at hand with the people that you've been presented and that you had a relationship with. You know, you are throwing yourself into these relationships, yes, romantically and with your heart. You know, you're not fake vibing it, but it's like you're not learning the lessons at hand. And it really took like a good 6 relationships to make me realize, like, oh, this is all karmic like energy. This is all like a lesson to teach me, like, as to what my boundaries are, to teach how to heal myself, to teach how to reflect. And I've always reflected, but this has been the deepest that I've reflected as far as heartbreaks and disappointments and things that I've come through and stuff like that. When he was like, well, I don't understand, like, you know, how you want this to work and I'm unhappy. And it's like, well, damn, you never told me that you're unhappy. Like, you know, so I don't know, like for me, it just was like, okay, I need to be careful as to what I'm dealing with when it comes to relationships and what I'm accepting in myself and for myself, and not, you know, and be careful not to devalue myself by being with certain people, because it's like, again, he just like, he was one of my good friends. Like I said, I put him on a pedestal, and that's where the lesson comes to. Don't put people on a pedestal. It's
never,
hard.
never.
Yeah,
I have never put anybody on a pedestal. Like, I just see it. I get like, oh yeah, this is my girl. I've seen dudes put their girls on a pedestal and they get trampled by that same female.
Big time.
And you know, either they deal with it by being bullied by her, or they do stuff like cheat on her.
Right.
Me, I myself, I never put like any girl on a pedestal. I'll treat her with respect,
Right.
but I would not put her on a pedestal, because I'm like, when you're giving that much power to a person, you're really just like you said, you're devaluing yourself, and you're just like setting yourself up just for like a lot of things to fail. I mean, you're creating like all this expectation, you're creating this whole fantasy. And I feel like that's another thing that's a problem, is the fantasy of a person, you know?
Yeah.
Like everybody has this fantastical dream about what they think this person is like until the real reality sets in. And let me take it back to like, because I have an example. The girl that I saw on my birthday, you
Yeah.
know, when I actually told her my name, and she was just like, "Oh, dang, I had all these." I had all these ideas to do with Walter, and I was just thinking like, "Bitch, what?" In my head, like, because I'm going off the fact she's saying no pressure. This is a no pressure event. This is like, we're just hanging out. We're just doing this. We're doing that.
Right.
You know, but honestly,
That was
the
horrifying.
final, yeah, it was horrifying, and it was the final red flag to
Yeah.
where I was just like, nah, this chick is
I'm not gonna beat
crazy.
it. Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. I feel like when, see, that's another thing that I kept doing too. Like a person that wears a heart on their sleeve, like it's just like you see these alarm like these red flags, like as you said, right, and you just ignore them. Like for me in my experiences, I kept seeing them, but I kept ignoring them because it was just like in all of my relationships, like I just was like, nah, he's cool, it's fine, like we're gonna get through it. And I just kept going forward, you know, like, and working my ass off to make a relationship happen that wasn't supposed to happen, or wasn't meant to happen, or wasn't meant to be, you know. And it really was him that finally had to tell me, like, there's just things that just don't work out. And I was just like, wow, like, cool, thanks for telling me that, but I would have appreciated you telling me that face to face versus this.
To me, it's more like, for me, like, it's all about trust. And I know for me, I don't easily trust everybody. You know, to me, I'm those type of people, you have to earn the trust, you know?
Yeah.
You have to prove your trust, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, I know, like, with that, again, like, I'm bringing it back to the girl from the picnic,
Yeah.
you know? She literally is like open from the jump, trust, and just like, you know, is not concerned about, you know, mistrust or anything like that. Now
Right.
that's fine to me, that's fine for her.
Right.
I'm not that open because I know sometimes there's people you just can't automatically sit there and trust right away. I mean, it's like, after watching like that documentary about Ted Bundy and how like he was in the eyes of Elizabeth Kopler, you know, in one way, you know, she saw him as her boyfriend. You know, he was Ted, he was the family man, he was always at home, he was going to school, this, that, and the other. She didn't see Ted Bundy, the serial killer,
Right.
the rapist, the necrophiliac, and all that.
Right.
And it just made me think like, wow, like, you seriously, and I don't want to say like we're trying to really like, well, that I'm trying to promote a level of toxicity, but it's just like, when it comes to trust, it's hard to just sit there and say like, well, I'm gonna trust this person, you know, I'm gonna give this person all my trust. Like, there's a level, like, you know, you could give little I feel like a little at a time. I mean, that's just me, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I know you probably feel different about that, but to me, it's like, okay, I need to see little things where I know I can trust this person, you know, before I give like full trust, because again, you just cannot fully give full trust. And I understand, like, with the one chick, you know, we're both going out on a limb, like, you know, meeting each other and all that. But at the same time, it's like, you know, I don't know you, you don't know me. I'm clearly
Right. Yeah.
and I clearly didn't know her. And, you know, just to see like the craziness that ensued, And, you know, after seeing that, I was just like, wow, you know what? At least I wasn't too trusting and gave her like all my story about myself. Oh no. Juice World told me all these girls are the same.
Period.
I'm
Period.
kidding.
For
I'm
real.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just being silly right now.
True though. Like that's not that. Well, that reminds me of like the Megan Thee Stallion. Like I got to break up with my boyfriend every summer. I'm like, girl, like no.
You know what? I do feel like a lot of this music and social media, and I always tell this to like younger generations too that I talk to, you know, I feel sorry for them for being in this era, including me for being in this era, you know? Like,
It's hard. It was
like
a lot easier back then.
relationships are not the same at all.
Mm-mm. Big time. I agree 100%. I'm glad that you can say that because it's like where I feel like we were like, you know, we pretty much lived through what, like the non-internet era to the eventually getting to the internet era, and then like, you know, to the era and to where we are right now. So we kind of like lived through like 3 sections of like life pretty much, I feel like. And like I feel like we came from, you know, where your grandparents grow old together, and you know, some grandparents are divorced. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like mostly you
like
have
a lot of them, they literally married based on like security or like the closest person there, you know, half the time. But it was never always like roses and peaches and sunshine. But they stayed. Well, most of them, like the grandparents, stay together. Now, our parents, on the other hand,
that's a different thing.
That's a different story.
I came from that too. Same thing.
That's a different story. It's either you grew up in a house with a dad or you grew up in a house without a dad.
Yeah, one parent or no, like 100%. Like I mean, my dad was in my life then, but he wasn't. There was a lot of stuff that was going on that I felt like, you know, he probably kind of like took himself out of the situation. But I feel like he was there for the most part, and I do remember a lot of memories with my dad, a lot of good memories. But I felt like, of course, he wasn't the perfect father. Nobody's the perfect parent. And there's things that I'm getting over and forgiving and stuff like that, because I realized what the situation actually was. And, you know, my mom's not the most easiest person to deal with all that stuff too. My mom's a great mom, but she's also not a perfect mom. So it's like things that I'm you know, healing, especially in 2020. Now is the time to do it. And I feel like, I don't know, like I do come from a background of my parents being divorced. I come even like right now, my mom and my stepdad are, you know, in some situation that they're trying to figure out, and it doesn't look like it's, you know, so I think that there's going to be possibly a second divorce. Not that I'm trying to put that into the universe, but I think that's what's been kind of happening over the years. And you know, it's just life, relationships are totally different now. Like I have you know what's unhealthy too is like I like that's where we could get segue into the Jada and Will thing, like how people see relationships as like relationship goals. Like
Oh yeah, that's another form of toxic behavior.
that part 100%. There is no, like, I'm not saying that, again, as humans we can't be inspired by each other, of course, and we can be inspired by people and what they have, but you don't understand that dynamic of that relationship or what that relationship is. And I feel like people go on here, especially a lot of YouTubers who I even looked up to, who I always like had goals before I went through all of this, of like, oh, I can't wait till I get a boyfriend. We have like a whole video channel of like couple videos and this and that. And now, like, because I'm so into the whole energy thing and I'm so into protecting my vibes and my energy and my privacy and things like that, I'm still very candid. I still say what I want to say, and I'm, you know, upfront about that. But now it's like, because of how public I was with my last relationship, I no longer feel like I want to be like putting my whole relationship out there for everybody to see, because people, first of all, hate on people being happy. There's a lot of times that other people are not happy in their situations in their relationships, in their life. And so it's like a bunch of misery just kind of like spreading around. And but like I said, it's like, don't think that any relationship is relationship goals. Because even for me, like my best friend was with some guy, and he ended up cheating on her twice, and it was really horrible. It was really devastating. It was sad for her, but life moves on, and she's getting through it. She's a fighter. But I felt like I was looking up to their relationship, like, see, this is what I want for myself. Like, I want somebody to be just as chivalrous and to take care of me in this way that she's being taken care of. And I was like, even looking up to like my aunt and my family, who went through something kind of rough with her relationship that she's trying to mend and stuff like that. And it's like, and he really, really, really dogged her out to the fullest extent. And it just was like, I can't ever really look at him the same. And I was like on the level of calling him an uncle, even though he wasn't married into the family yet. And it pissed me off what I learned about what was going on. And it just was like, so what are my true examples of a relationship? Like, what do I look up to now? And I kind of like, it was kind of like I was jaded for a little bit, because it was like people make these relationships so impossible. It's like, it's so sad. And then I was going through my situation with my ex too, and it just was like, what the fuck, But now I'm at a point where it's like, dude, no relationship's perfect. There is no relationship goals. There may be little things that we can learn from, and that's like we can aspire to be and have. But again, it's like, do not put these people on a pedestal. Do not expect these things from people unless they really are bringing it to the table. Proof in the pudding, proof in the bread, like right there. They got to really, really bring it to you.
I never really looked at celebrity relationships as like the ideal relationships. I mean, I know some people that do actually do that. Like I mentioned the girl I was telling you about with the whole situation, and all that.
Yeah.
Before we got on here.
Right.
Yeah, she was a big couples goal type person, because she would make comments about like couple goals this, couple goals that, and she would like try and say things about us even though we weren't technically together. She would want that for us, and to me, I couldn't really see it the full extent of what she wanted to see, because of the situation between us, the whole distance and everything.
Right.
So to me, I mean, I didn't see the overall logic to it, because I'm more of I like to spend time with the person. I'm more of a time person. I like to go out with the person. I like to, do things with a person, like say like there's a festival that's coming out. Hey, I want to take that person with me,
Right.
There's a movie that we both want to check out. Hey, let's go check it out together,
Right. I say quality time, affection and stuff like that. I get you. I'm the same way. Right.
Yeah. So I'm more of like the physical type. I mean, yeah, at the same time, we still could do those things, but it's technically not the same, because at the end of the day, it's just a paradise dream. Like, it's just a paradise week and everything.
Right.
It's not real. It's almost like having a fantasy dream and what have you, to me.
Right.
I mean, maybe she didn't see it that way, but I mean, that's how I kind of saw it that way,
Right.
But yeah, like, but at the end of the day, like, we can't sit there and worship other people's shit, worship like the person that we're with. Well, not really worship, but like, be like, we are the couple goals. Like, don't don't sit there and praise other people's couple goals because their couple goals are different from your couple goals. You
Right.
know? And if
100%.
you're unhappy with your couple goals at the moment, maybe you need to move on to a different couple goals.
Hmm.
Like,
I agree. I agree 100%. Like, I don't know, like for me, like I said, I was so public with my relationship. Like every fucking picture I posted was a picture of me and my boyfriend or my ex, like me and him constantly. Like my whole page was just like of us and our videos and stuff like that. And it's because it's something that he kind of started. And then so I like just was like, okay, we're gonna start doing that. Let's put it out there. So we're, you know, in the relationship thing. Then like I would post constantly left and right, which was my choice and my fault. And I feel like I would love like getting compliments and, oh my gosh, he's so like, you know, you guys are so cute, and you know, you guys are such a beautiful couple. And you know, I would like get DMs and saying like, oh my gosh, you guys both like wrestling, and like, you know, because I got into wrestling more into wrestling because of him. And you know, so I was like, oh shit, like, you know, I was like loving that. Like that was like a cool like little, I guess, validation pretty much. And like, so next thing I knew that I was like kind of like putting my relationship too much out there for everybody to see. And so then when we would get into fights that I thought we were like we were done, we were broken up and stuff like that, like now I'm taking all his pictures off, now we're fighting, now he's taking my name out of his bio. Like it's like all this shit that's just unnecessary. So it's just like, do not put pressure on yourself and the other person to be couple goals, or to what is it, like to be the next Beyonce and Jay-Z. Like
yeah,
just
because even their relationship wasn't perfect too.
yeah, that too. That came out to the public, but we were so quick to be like, no, we still want to be Beyonce and Jay-Z. And it's like, no, you really don't, because the man probably put the girl through, or put Beyonce through a lot of hell. So
Which
you
he
know,
did.
right.
Which he did. It was
Mhm.
funny because like when the whole Jay-Z Beyonce thing happened, I just thought like black excellent couples was Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. And
Yep.
I was just thinking like, well, you know, not enough people are really giving Will and Jada enough credit for their relationship. Yeah, I heard the swinger rumors. I myself don't really believe it that much, but if it's true, that's them. You know,
Right.
maybe they're onto something to keeping their relationship strong.
Right.
But then August Alsina came into the picture. And it was
Mess
just
that
like,
shit up.
and all I could think was like, damn. But even and honestly, I really don't give a fuck about what Jada did, honestly
Right.
speaking. You know, I mean,
Right.
that's all their shit.
Entanglements. The
That
entanglement.
that that shit pissed me off. That shit pissed
Yeah.
me off right there. That to be honest, it's like, if you're gonna do some shit, own up to your shit.
Right.
Don't
Exactly.
don't soft play what you're doing. And
Exactly.
and it just made me think about, because I've had this happen to me before,
Yeah.
where like there were women that did something wrong, and I'm not saying all women are doing this, but there's women that have done this.
Right. Right.
And this is where I could sound kind of toxic,
No, it's
but
okay. It's okay. We all have wounds. Go ahead.
but it's like they soft play what they do.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, nah, if you did some shit, own up to your shit. And
Right.
after you own up to your shit, I'ma talk some shit.
Right.
So,
Right. Right.
and it's like with Jada, she kind of like, you know, soft play and talking about like, well, I had an entanglement. And it's like, what? Will
Right.
Smith was like, you mean a relationship? And she's
Right.
like, yeah. Like,
Exactly. Like he had to like make her say it. Like, yep, I had a.
but she didn't even say it still. She
Right.
just was like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And now entanglement is like being used like it's a trend. I'm like, y'all are too much. But yeah, I agree. Like it's like, own up to your shit. Like
Yeah.
if you fucked up, say that you fucked up and it's okay. Like, you know,
Yeah.
that's you know, but
Yeah. And I'm not saying like only just women do this. Men do this too. honestly, because I've seen friends, they do shit, and I'm witnessing the shit, and I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, like, wow, I don't want to be like that.
Yeah, that part. For real.
Like, but again, it goes back to valuing what type of relationship you're in, valuing the person that you're with, or just valuing yourself, you know? Well, I guess those are all the questions about relationships. So I kind of want to move this for a bit. I got
Sure.
I got another topic that I want to talk about with you. I kind of didn't add this onto the original outline,
Sure.
but it just came as a mind to me because I feel like this podcast went to too much in the relationship area, and
Right.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be the most relationship anything my viewers are ever going to hear from me ever again.
Right.
So
Yeah, exactly.
so I'm probably going to lose like 70% of my female audience after this.
Hey, you never know. This might be your new snitch, or what is it? Your new stick on for your podcast.
You know, because half the time if they hear me, they're gonna hear me go like, "Well, this bitch in this movie," they're gonna be like, "Oh my god, there he goes saying bitch again." Like,
Yeah. Welcome to the real world. Like, what they say.
oh yeah, like just like how I talk to people, I'm gonna talk the same way I talk in my podcast. You know?
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
I'm not gonna fake that shit.
Right, exactly.
But
Okay.
But what I want to ask you is, what type of movies have you been watching lately?
I know there's one that I definitely my friend Raul recommended me to watch, and it's the Winchester movie on Netflix. It's an original Netflix movie it's based on the Winchester house, and I saw the Winchester house in person, and I was expecting it to be like some like my real like live version of like Ghost Adventures like episode, and it was not like that at all. But I was like, it was super quiet, it was boring, and I'm like, yeah, but imagine being here in this place by yourself. You're not in a group, like you're not in a tour group or anything like that, and shit is like popping off and stuff like that. Like imagine. So it's like, it might have not been scary with the tour group, but it's probably really scary in the nighttime, like, you know, or in the daytime by yourself and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, I was like, yeah, that's true. But yeah, it was interesting seeing it in person. So I would say that's definitely one of the movies that I recommend, and what I'll definitely be watching pretty soon, because yeah.
Did you hear about the new Wolfman movie that's going to be done by Lee Whannell?
I heard what's his name? Ryan Gosling's gonna be in it, and I was gonna blog about it tonight as well. But yeah, Ryan, I heard about that, and I was like, I don't think we need another Wolfman movie. I like the
You don't think we need a Wolfman movie? We need
it, because I do love werewolves. I do love like the story of it, and I like a lot of people talk a lot of shit about the last Wolfman movie that came out with Anthony Hopkins and Benicio del Toro, but I liked it. I thought it was cool. I didn't like the ending. Thought the ending was stupid, but I thought I liked it though. Like I remember seeing that on Valentine's Day with my 7-year ex, and I remember that distinctly. But I thought it was pretty good. And I watched it again in person, and I mean like renting it as what I meant in person. I rented it, and when they still had Blockbuster at the time, and I thought it was good. I didn't think that it was a bad movie.
Yeah, but I feel like we need another werewolf movie because we spend so much time on all the other characters. Like I said, vampires, zombies, and ghosts. We need like characters like Frankenstein,
Yeah.
or technically speaking, Frankenstein's monster, because Frankenstein is literally the scientist. If you ever read the book.
Dr. Frankenstein, exactly.
Yeah. So we need a Frankenstein movie, and we need another Wolfman movie for sure.
Yeah.
There was another one, I can't think of it. We need another Bride of Frankenstein. I mean, we need to revamp those characters. We need to dive into those characters more. I am glad that Lee Whannell came out with Invisible Man. And
That was
he showed that we could revamp these classic characters.
yeah.
You know, we don't have to like leave them in the past.
Yeah.
Because the last great werewolf movie I actually watched was Ginger Snaps. And that was the last like, and I'm not saying like based on like chronologically, I mean just speaking on like werewolf movies that I've seen. That's literally the last werewolf movie that I thought that was good. If any
Yeah.
other werewolf movie I've seen, I thought it was trash.
Yeah.
You know,
Fair enough.
and I feel like movies like Twilight kind of made werewolves and vampires in a
Yeah.
very negative light, you
It was
know?
just too airy. It's not like the shit has never been romantic. Like I could see like the Wolfman was like romantic. It was like a dark romance kind of. So I could kind of see that. And then Invisible Man was a kind of a dark romance too. And
So was Dracula. Dracula was very dark also.
exactly. So we can make that, like we could put romance into it, of course. But I feel like Twilight, even though I seen all the movies and I was definitely a fan of them at the time, I felt like I ain't gonna lie, I was definitely
see
a
my
fan of Twilight.
listeners until they hear because on my the latest podcast that I recorded yesterday,
Yeah.
I really go in on Twilight.
No, it's true. Like it definitely deserves to be pulled apart because the acting was terrible. The casting was not that great. I mean, there's just a lot of things like definitely like you can definitely shred the Twilight movie apart. I agree 100%. But I mean, at the time, you know, especially as a female, you love romance and you love the books and stuff like that. And you
The
know,
books weren't even that good.
Yeah,
They weren't even that good.
the books were not that like well written, but I mean that was just such an error. Like the Twilight era was such
I'm glad it stayed in that era.
Yeah, it did. It was the perfect timing for all of like what was going on. But it was definitely like teeny boppy, and it wasn't like true to that can never be in a true horror category. You know,
Oh,
like
nah,
it's
nah.
not werewolves, real true werewolves. It's like now they could have done something a little better with. There's something that could have been done with that a little bit more, but it was like I said, teeny boppy, like so they weren't going to make it like dark, you know, because they could have definitely put like a skinwalker twist on that with the werewolves and the Indians and their you know.
It could have been so much darker, especially since they had the Native Americans that were in the story. It could have been so much darker than what it was.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, again, it's a teeny bopper film, like you said. They were shooting for a PG-13 rating, and then they got all the lonely, desperate women that got like 9 cats in their house going to see this movie. This is probably going to be the comment that got the women clicking off.
Facts. It's so true. It's facts though. Like I mean, at the time, like I was in my 7-year relationship when the first movie came out, and then like I watched all of them with him and my friends at the time, and like I just was like, you're so like in love with the cheesiness as a female of the relationship between Bella and Edward, which technically in some instances had their toxic moments. Okay.
Oh, it was definitely toxic.
Yeah, like this bitch tried to kill herself over Edward like leaving and stuff like that. Like it's so, I mean, really and truly, because of the mindset that you have, you know, you grow into an adult and you start
okay. What Twilight film was that? Because what Twilight film, because I only seen the first one.
Oh yeah, that was probably the second one where whenever Edward goes to the Vatican and he tries to like so stupid, but it's like he goes to the Vatican, he tries to expose himself and like, you know, how he's all sparkly and whatever, and she like starts running and she like like, no, Edward, you can't show yourself to the Vatican, and da, 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 da. If they see you, they'll kill you. And so, because that's like, you can't expose yourself as a vampire, like that's, you're condemned to death. So she went in to, like, you know, save her man, but she, like, when he like left, she was literally like in a chair in her room, rocking, like sad, depressed, and thinking about him. She like tried to like ride a bike, motorcycle bike dangerously, and just to see him. And she threw herself almost off of a cliff one time, I think, or she actually did it, I can't remember. But you know, and stuff like that. So she put herself in danger, right, to see him and stuff like that. Because basically, like, when she would put herself in danger, he would feel it, and so he can like manifest spiritually to her to like make her stop, or like for him to like see her and stuff like that. It was just like, yo, the girls ate this shit up. Like,
I was just
like,
literally
oh my
sitting
God,
here thinking
we
about,
want this relationship too. Like, what the fuck, bitch?
I was
like,
literally sitting here thinking about this shit too. I'm sitting here thinking like, what if this movie was a real life story and we're just literally watching what's happening in real time, and this bitch is about to kill herself
over this man, right? Or this not even a man, a vampire, right? Exactly. I was like, dude, this is make no type of sense. And then like she like had the baby, or when she had the baby, like she was like looking like a drug addict because the baby was like, you know, like inside of her body. And I don't think that she turned into a vampire after. She was still a human being at the time, but she had to drink blood in order to feed the baby. But like she was disintegrating as she's like trying to feed this baby, because the baby's like feeding off of her. But like Edward's like making funny faces at her and stuff like that, because she looks crazy. She looks like, you know, but it's I mean, really like
Kristen Stewart looks like a weirdo anyway.
Well, yeah, it's true. And I don't think that she's the best actress at all. Like, I think like the best movie I've seen her in was that Jumanji wannabe movie that came out that I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, that space movie, that one. I was like, dude,
you know what? It's crazy because that movie really did romanticize suicide, and it's funny because like It Chapter 2 got shitted on for romanticizing Stan's suicide.
Yeah.
You know, with the whole like way they played it in Chapter 2, talking about how he used his suicide as a self-sacrifice, and you see Bill and Mike kind of celebrating that. And some people actually shitted on that. And I shitted on that one too, because I was like, wow, they really are kind of like romantic. Like, yeah, they're romanticizing suicide a bit. And it's just like, yeah, someone committing suicide, that's nothing you celebrate. Like, that's your friend in the end that just killed himself.
I agree. Like, you know, and it's weird because like when I saw that, because I saw it too, I thought it was a beautiful ending, but I thought that like I don't think that I was so into the movie. And again, like you just have to like balance the reality like of real life versus what's going on in the movie, which is just fantasy, you know, it's not realistic.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing. I feel like, yeah, there is a bit of romanticizing that movies want to do. But when you're sitting there breaking it down, like, did these motherfuckers actually say they're happy that this dude killed himself? Like,
no, it's true. It's true. Like, I guess, like, realistically, like, I never saw it that way. Like, you brought it, like, good to my attention. Like, it's true that they were romanticizing suicide, and they made it all beautiful, and they had people crying in the theater, and all that shit. Like, but it's like, you know, it's true. They totally romanticized the hell out of that. And I don't think I saw that at the time until like you brought it up, and it's true. Like, and even like down to looking at the Twilight movies and talking to you about it, it's like, bro, these fucking relationships were toxic as hell. Like, she was cheating on him with like the werewolf and stuff like that. Like, what the hell?
Oh, she was playing her actual self. She was playing her actual self in real life.
Real life.
Remember,
exactly.
she was really going out with Robert Pattinson, and she cheated on him in real life. She cheated on him with a married man. She home wrecked a relationship.
And then now she's had the nerve to be a lesbian now. She's like, I'm gonna be a lesbian now. I'm gonna be safe now. I mean, rock on, like, you know, do whatever you want to do, you know, God bless. But it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like,
Oh man, that's funny. It's funny that we got off the topic about
I
toxic
know,
relationships, and we're circling back into it.
right? It's so true though. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, looking at a lot of these movies and these, like, when you start like using your like adult brain versus like the younger brain, not that we're not smart as kids, because there's some kids that catch shit that's like, wow, like you're very intelligent for your age.
I think with like watching movies, we are swept into the moment, and that's the point of movies. We're supposed to be swept into the moment.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and Twilight is one of those manipulating films or manipulative films where like they really want to put the women, and I mean women because they're the ones that are eating this shit up.
Yeah.
You know,
it's true. They knew what they were doing.
They're romanticizing a lot of things that shouldn't be romanticized because when they experience it, they're quick to be like, oh, nah, that nigga ain't shit.
Right.
I don't like
100%.
that shit. This, that, and other. He ain't shit. Like
100%. And now it's sick because it's like they I don't know who wrote this film, but it's like they knew how to prey on us women because we're Team Edward, team what's the other one? Taylor, Lautner, whatever. Yeah, Jacob, Team Jacob.
Yeah, I was actually Team Jacob.
I was Team Jacob for a while until I saw like the last movies, and then I was like, oh, okay, fine. But it was like, then they had the nerves to have Jacob like in print or have like an imprint on the Bella's daughter, which meant that like he would like be like her and him together forever. And I was like, bitch, there's like so much wrong with that. There's bestiality, first of all. There's like she's a baby and he's a grown man, like an adult, like a teenager, but still he's way older than her. And like all of this stuff, I'm like, okay, Twilight, cool. Thanks for like lying to us. But yeah.
Okay. Since you mentioned like something where like some old fuck is trying to like seduce some young fuck and all that, there's this movie that I watched that I reviewed in my last podcast that's going to be coming out pretty soon. It's this movie called A Witch That Came from the Sea, and it came out in 1976. What happens in this movie is that you follow this female lead named Molly, and she's pretty much like a traumatized serial killer. So why I say traumatized is because she was multiple times raped by her father.
Ugh.
Yeah, and because she was raped by her father, it left like a very traumatizing experience on her. So what she ends up doing is like killing every man that kind of reminds her of her father, which is like anybody that's like big and kind of like muscular. So, or if they say like I'm your papa, it reminds her of her dad. Yeah,
right.
So it's like a trigger. So this movie, I would have to say you gotta check out because it's not like Art the Clown disturbing, but when you figure like the traumatizing experience that's happening to this girl, you just be like, what the fuck? And there's a scene in the movie, which again, I'm gonna have to have you watch it.
Is it the one that you had in your story where she was like, I don't know what she was cutting at. There's some bitch she was cutting at in your story.
Yes.
That
was the movie. That was the movie. But that's not the scene. That's not the scene. There's a scene in this movie that you would just be like, what the? This was allowed? Like,
wow, that's crazy. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to peep it out definitely now.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm gonna send it to you because it's on both Amazon Prime and it's on Tubi.
Okay, I have both of those just in case.
Yeah. So definitely check out because this was one movie that I thought was like, because I was on my 70 movies watch. So like all of like last month, all I was doing was kind of watching a lot of I was watching a mixture of movies, but I was watching like a lot of 70s movies.
Yeah.
And what I was doing was like kind of like making a topic out of it. But yeah, it was like my 70s movie watch, and this was one movie from the 70s that just made me go like, what the fuck did I just watch, bro? Like,
I believe you because I feel like the 70s era, like they have some shit like Suspiria. I haven't watched that shit yet because it's like on some other stuff. They have Phantasm and stuff like that, which I haven't watched either. And I heard there's the other one that's like not Obsession, but Possession, but it's not the Benicio del Toro Possession one where it's like based on the Debug box or whatever, but it's like based on like two people. I think the guy from Jurassic Park films, like Alan, who plays Alan, he is in that film, and there's like an English lady, and they're just like acting totally weird. She's acting really weird, and I haven't finished that movie, but yeah, that shit is really insane. I have not finished it because it's just so weird. But yeah, like I don't know, like okay, so that reminds me of Split, how she basically had a child traumatizing moment too while she grew up. Or while she was growing up, and with her uncle, and she shot him, right? She killed him, right?
I haven't watched Split.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
That's
sorry.
not important though. Like that part of it is not that essential because it's like it doesn't really like it plays into why she is awkward, but it does not really like it's not a main thing. It just plays into why she relates to the Split character. So yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
you should
Well,
watch that, by the way. It's a good one.
okay, Split.
Yeah.
Isn't that part of the trilogy, part of the Glass trilogy or the Unbreakable trilogy?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I saw Glass too, and I thought Glass was good. A lot of people were talking a lot of shit about it. They were like, "That was terrible. They should have did more." And okay, granted, I feel like they should have done more with their characters, but I thought it was good. So.
Okay. All right. Well, since we are going to approach the outro right now, are there any movies that you would like to suggest to the audience?
Mainly, like I said, just since we were talking about those like toxic relationships and movies like dealing with this topic, I feel like Invisible Man is something that everybody should see, like the new one. Like, holy shit. This shit's so scary. Definitely see that because it's like, I don't know, like I just love the fact that it's like somebody who's I don't know, like it was scarier than Hollow Man. Like Hollow Man, Kevin Bacon's Hollow Man was good. I don't think it was scary, but I think it was good. It was a good thriller movie. Maybe even a little bit before its time, but Invisible Man, it's like, whoo, plays on your psyche. Like he comes to get you, like dang, like, and he's there too the whole time. He's there. That's why it's like it really plays with you. Like, yeah. The movie that I would not recommend is The New Grudge. Don't waste your time. That shit was stupid.
All right. So now I know the new Grudge movie is terrible.
Trash.
That's crazy.
Super trash.
Crazy, because I really wanted to see that movie too.
I like me too. Like when so when my best friend and I went to go see it, I was super hyped to see it because I was like, okay, cool. We'll see what they're gonna do with it. Like, I feel like Japanese horror beats American horror any day, right? Period. That's just because I can't even get myself to completely watch a Japanese horror movie. That their shit is on a whole different level. Like that definitely plays into your psyche. So like for me, The Ring, like I've seen Ringo and I've seen Ju-on, and I think I've even seen Ju-on too, but their level of horror is crazy. Like, and it's good, it's respectable, I love it, but I just feel like like the ring when first of all, I have a problem with Samara. Samara and me are not friends. Okay, like
I already know.
Right, so bad. Like it was like, oh no, like she's like, everybody has their like horror person that just scared them to death. Like she's my person for sure. I hate seeing her in my dreams and stuff like that. Like, ugh.
See,
But,
sounds like you need to face your fear because Chucky was my person that I feared the most.
yeah.
Got over him by the time I was in 7th grade.
Yeah, I just can't get over like Samara's face. Like her rotten face just messes with me. I can't do it. Like I still to this day can't watch The Ring again. Like I watched it back to back. Like I watched all of them, all of the Ring movies that came out, and then I watched the because I was so intrigued by it. That's the thing. Like these things will scare you to death, but you're so taken with the story. Like what's gonna happen? Like I know I'm scared of seeing this, but I want to see what's gonna happen. So I ended up watching all of them. But the first one, whoo, and just the noises and like I don't know. I guess maybe just at that time like that it just really used to fuck with me. But like I've seen it again because I did like a short film, not a short film, but it was like a short parody of it from one of the scenes in the movies, and I'll post it up eventually on my blog. But yeah, like she just is terrifying to me, and she's only scary in the first one. Like the second one, the third one, like yeah, whatever, that's also scary. But the first one, I was like, this bitch is coming through fucking TVs. Like no. So that was crazy. And I just feel like the level their makeup, like the makeup in that film was like, that was some legit like rotten, like she was rotted, like
yeah
exquisite. Good job. Fuck me up. Thank you.
Oh man. All right, is there anything that you're working on currently?
Just been really, like I said, blogging, just keeping the content up to date, and keeping you guys, interested as I go. But I know I've been, like I said, definitely asked about the podcast, and it's definitely going to happen. I'm currently in the process of cleaning my phone, if you guys need to know why. So I'm going to get it out there to you guys for sure. So definitely expect that coming up soon. And I know that the next goal of mine is to get my horror YouTube channel going too. So but it's going to be kind of like a mixture of like makeup and like pin up outfits, or like what I'm wearing now or something like that, or maybe a haul, and horror movies as well, things like that. So it's going to be kind of a mixture, but I think you guys will like it, so we'll see. But that's something that's coming in the future too. But yeah.
All right, well, that is pretty much it. Can you tell the audience where they can find you?
Yes, you guys can find me at Black Girls Love Horror 2. It is Black and then Girls and Love Horror 2. And you guys can find me on my on Instagram directly, and Twitter the same way. I should come up in Google and you guys should be able to find me for sure. So I just have my Twitter and my Instagram for now, and my podcast too. But yeah.
Yep. And as you guys know, you can find your boy on Instagram, Walter Doom, and on Twitter, Walter Doom 1, because some asshole took Walter Doom.
Darn him.
I know. And of course, I am going to eventually upload, for all you Spotify heads, I am going to eventually upload a lot of the old stuff and current stuff to Spotify. So be prepared to see some stuff on there. And of course, if you're on YouTube, please like, subscribe. Don't be a bitch. No, I'm kidding.
Don't be a wimp.
Just kidding, you guys. I love you guys.
It's all love here. All love.
I am signing out right now, you guys. This is another episode of Let's Talk About Horror. This is your boy, Walter Doom, signing out. This is America. Don't let them catch you slipping now. Black Lives Matter. Peace.